All right, welcome back. Officially the last day of August, and for me personally, it's the last day of what I would say summer. I know we're still 3 weeks away from the official start of the fall season, but I'm excited. I'm excited for the coming busy season for coin collecting. But real quick, I wanted to touch bases on some interesting finds from the wheat cent bag. In this particular video, we're going to focus on die chips, not specifically types like this 1952S with the gnarly huge die chip that fuses the 5 and the mint mark together. That's pretty interesting. Uh, Coins like that I usually pull out of the bag and save. But specifically, there's an interesting die chip, and a lot of you have seen videos on this topic before, but right here, the little die chip that fuses B and E in Liberty is called a BIE, BIE cent. And during this time, usually, the BIE cents were first discovered, I believe, in the 50s. And these coins started in the 50s. This one is a 55D. This is generally like a really noticeable, prominent weak spot in the dies. Okay, so oftentimes they would chip right here between the B and E, giving it the appearance of a letter I, which, there you go. They go by the terminology as BIE or BIE cents. Pretty interesting. And in all, I found 8 of them. So that was the 55D. That was probably the nicer example in terms of grade value. Here is a 55S. Says it's San Francisco. And they're all a little bit different, and they're all attributed by the website called Cuds on Coins. Some of you have probably already been on there and are very familiar with the site. They also do like die breaks, Cuds, retained die breaks, and of that sort. Here's the 57D. This one has a smaller one, but it fuses the B and the E, and it's a different shape of the die chip. And these, by the way, are pretty well collected, believe it or not. I'm not going to say they have a huge secondary market. Personally, I've had great success selling these between 50 cents and $2 a piece. The only problem is, and this one is a 57, this one's a Philly. The only problem is it's kind of tough to sell these on the singular piece level. By the time you factor in, like, because I love selling on eBay, for example, it's kind of tough to sell these singularly because of the fees and shipping and so on and so forth. You would net out maybe a quarter to $1 in profit if you sold these. And traditionally, I'll assemble a large quantity of them and then sell them as such. And then, I'll sell a roll of 50 for about $20. And, that's pretty good. Many times face value. And this one is another 55D. This one is a little bit different shape, a little bit different die state, probably from a different set of dies. But these are interesting, and they do have value, believe it or not. There are people that actually sell or accumulate these in large portions, and then they examine the die states. Here's another 55S. This one looks pretty similar to the other 55S I'd shown. Neat little die chip. And die chips can occur in between any one of the letters. Here's another 55S. Similar, looks like it's the same die that was used for this one because the die chip, the I guess, is the same shape. But there are examples with die chips in between, say, the I and B, The L and I are fused together, the E and R. Those aren't worth nearly as much, but they're attributable on the Cuds on Coins website as well. And new examples of these are found 5070. Now check this one out. This is probably the more radical of the 8. You also have a pretty large die chip right there in the letter B. Plus you got the die chip in between the B and I. But that one's really cool. I like that one. There are new discoveries every day on the BIE cents. As a matter of fact, someone just discovered a 2018 Philadelphia BIE. That's pretty interesting. Again, grade plays a huge factor in all this. Higher grade example sells for around $5. Not too bad. New discoveries. If they're not sent to the attributors of the Cuds on Coins website, and they're just listed on eBay, for example, sometimes they'll achieve $10 to $20 for a new discovery. So, yeah. And as far as date range, again, the 50s all the way up to 2018 is where you could find one of these. Excuse me, I have a little something in my throat. But they are all pretty well collected. It's a little bit of a narrow market. There's only so few people, or so many people, that actually collect them, that you can't. It's slowly growing, is what I'm saying. So they might be worth about 50 cents to $2 a piece today. 10 years from now, kind of hard to say. Depending on where the whole state of coin collecting is going to be at that time period, will determine, how well collected these varieties and, cuds and, errors and that sort of thing, find itself. But it's a lot of fun. Again, these are coins. The BIE cents, you find them quite frequently in the 60s Lincoln cents. So even those of you that go through, like general bankrolls, you could easily find these. So that's great news. Another thing to look out for, by the way. But in any event, I appreciate your guys' time. Hit like, subscribe to Blue Ridge Silverhound if you haven't done so already, and hit the bell for instant notifications. Whoops. Hey, there we go. Down below. Still got the magnifier on there. And yeah, as always, I appreciate your guys' time. Enjoy hunting, okay? This is the busy time of the season where things begin to ramp up. People are cashing in more change. There's more treasure to be found out there as a result. People have spent all year long throwing money in, piggy banks and water jugs and so on. So I love this time of year. But I hope to share more finds with you, and hope you found this video somewhat of a help. Again, you guys keep hunting and enjoy the hobby. You guys take care.